Hi there, it's Pete, Mindwiseman's channel, aka Maverick Outdoors, and this is just a brief video on Sunday the 3rd of November 2013 on a trek up the Wayfarer's Walk, otherwise famously known as Watership Down, to do a bit of conditioning for my legs ready for Brecon Beacons the end of this month, November, and also to trial test my mountain tent after giving it some repairs and a bit of maintenance. But more about that as we progress through the video.
I'm not overdoing my condition training on this trek, but I'm keeping up an average of 100 to 120 paces per minute. And I've got my way to an ancient Iron Age fort, which again is featured quite a number of times. But the objective today is to set up my mountain tent, which I've maintained and had to repair, and I'll be using it for the first time at the end of this month. Okay, I've nearly come to the top of this section of the track, the trail, and I've got a few dips to go down. Where the path goes further beyond the horizon, I'll get a bit further there, and then that's about halfway. That's about halfway on the trek, so I've got about another 2.5 k's to tap. As I say, for a lot of you, you've seen this trail before. It's one of my favourite places to come. It's one of the highest peak areas around, as you can see. There's the north of England. Well, that's its bearings anyway. So as for the majority of you, you'll recognise some of this, and we'll be repeating some of this trail. I'll log back in a little while when I've gone down a couple of dips, and then I've come up to another high peak about a sort of mile away, so I'll catch you then. Somewhere over there. Before I go down this next terrain, trees, goes right away down with those trees now. I've got to meander around and go right over there. Okay, I've arrived on the hill fort beyond where I'm pointing, right over the other side there. There's about, on the distance of here going undulating, it's about another third, so it's about 2/3 of the journey, it's a third past that radio mast. I'll do a close up of. But so I'm on the Iron Age fort. Normally I sit over there and sort of look over that way. So just on the other side of that mound over there, where I normally sit and look out, where you would have seen this view before. And just on that mound, just along there, is where I did the wild camp, or about 2009, I think it was, 2008. It's the first time I think any of you guys have actually seen me pitching a tent and actually getting inside one. Okay, that's where I normally sit to have me brew and look at the scenery all around there. But what I decided to do, this is the best bit of ground to pitch the tent. Okay, you can see what I've done here is where this zip section would close and bring this in to zip up down there. I brought it out as like a little shelter area. 3-sectional pole, paracorded it. Getting fixings in the ground here is really difficult because this ground is naturally stony and flint rocks, and where the ground is sort of like really stony, obviously I would definitely push that in further, because that's only got to come up and go in a hook and then loosen this, but just for sort of demonstration purposes. So where the pegs go in to the ground, if there's a bit of stone really solid underneath, you're pushing the peg in, loops to peg in where you actually want it in situ, where you want all the footprint of the tent sort of positioned, So you're sort of getting the footprint all in situ before you start to set it up. You go to put the pegs in, and if you're hitting stones, you've got to rearrange where the loops are and the peg holes. So I just about got it in. I sort of put it at an angle so it sort of maybe missed some of the rocks that are underneath here. So it's a Pro Action Tiger Paws. As far as I know, this tent isn't made anymore. You can hunt around and get them second hand. Let's go inside and get out of the breeze. Okay. There we go. There's a little sit down. I put a 6x4 foot ground sheet underneath because I don't trust unless it's sort of polythene plastic. Some sort of basic tents have actually got that sort of ground sheet, basin, bucket, floor built into it. But as you can see, I'm sort of sitting on this, and my body pressure will maybe bring some dampness through underneath the actual base of the tent. So hence just using this 6x4. But I think I will actually eventually, well, I don't think, I'm definitely going to make one to size to the actual footprint of the inner part of this tent. So you can see it's high enough to sit in. Oh, I'm just going to lay down and rest my head on the rucksack. Obviously it'd be a bit more taut if I did the fixings a bit more permanent, but I just want to do a trial run on this because I had to do a repair on it because one of the eyelets where the aluminium tent pole, the big one, arches over here, where you can see that. That's an extra bit I had to sew on that I actually took from the back of the tent because this eyelet, or the original one, actually broke through. So it's just material. So this pole, in retrospect, went just straight into the ground. So hence lost its shape. So what I did, I took it from the end. The original peg hole that was here, without going into the technicalities, I sort of replaced, I cut this off and then replaced this and put a larger rivet hole on it. And transferred it to here, where you can see my finger. So I just had to sort of change the loops around a bit. Put a clip on just on here to tab it, so then I can have this as like a little porch. And that's the spec on the bag. I was after a tent that I don't want to spend sort of £200-300 on. I mean, I think these used to retail for about sort of 40-50 quid. And they were mainly distributed in a well-known high street sort of warehouse shop beginning with the letter A. And no product placements and of shops. And the more recent one they made of this was bright orange. I think there was a few amendments to some of the structure. But you know, I'm not into bright colours. From a distance, I mean, obviously it doesn't blend in, but you know, it's green. And it's in keeping with literally being outdoors, really. The inside of the outer skin has got some tie tabs, which you tie onto the aluminium pole frame. But I've tied the one at the side here, you can see it, I think you can just see it just there. And there's another two, but I've left those because I know that when I actually do it in situ, when it's going to be an overnighter, I'll make sure everything's structured properly. It was brand new. I actually bought this about, oh crumbs, I think it was 2.5 years ago and I haven't used it. I was originally going to try and use it the other year when I wanted to try and do Brecon Beacons. Do an overnighter and also Kinder Scout, but it didn't work out, so I've still got the tent obviously, so I'm hoping to christen it properly at the end of this month at Brecon Beacons for that wild camp weekend. So the only thing that is a bit negative as far as I'm concerned, if it's raining, you have to put this up first, the internal part, But basically it's just, you know, you've got to move your butt into action, put this up as soon as you can, drape that over as quick as you can, and if it does get a bit damp, it's going to be no more than the dampness that you've got out in the rain, putting the tent up and then getting inside if you don't shake your clothes off. So I've got this little bit of a porch area here, which obviously I can close and then just zip that down so that closes in, but I'm keeping that up and I'm going to knock up a brew there because I could really feel the chill factor. Once I'd stopped, found the pitch, and obviously I'm not moving around, so of course my body heat starts to reduce, so I could really feel it, so hence putting this other sleeve layer on, and then the body warmer, which was a spiry around my back, so I just sort of pressed it on my trouser leg to take some of the moisture out. The body warmer back on, and body heat sort of evaporated any dampness that was there from carrying the rucksack on my back. So I'm going to get some calories down my throat now and have a bite to eat. Okay, I'm just going to strike that up in a mo. Just to unpack some of my brew kit, and I've got a sausage roll and a Scotch egg to take down my throat, and I think by the time I've finished, sort of had a bit of a chill, literally a cool breeze. It's not too windy here actually, because you know this is not quite a lee, the wind's going over the top, whereas if I was on that mound there you can feel the breeze really blowing. So I think by the time I've had something to eat and drink and strike down, it's going to be dark, so I'll definitely be making my way back in the dark, but that's good. I was expecting that. I quite like the trek back with a nice bright torch in the dark, because you know no one else is about and you've just got the whole of the area to yourself. Okay guys and girls, got the old kettle on to make a brew, got the cup ready. So here's my view, and if it were to rain, I'm sort of protected within this bit. Obviously if the wind blew it in, then what I would do is I'd most probably zip this down a little bit, careful that it doesn't actually strain the zip, because I did actually replace this as well. And I bring this point a little bit over, so maybe it was just a small opening here, so there's vent coming through, so it's safe to use any cooking device. I wouldn't really want to shut myself in totally and zip all this in and then use a cooker, so I'd have some sort of vent, and if it was raining heavy then obviously I'd bring this little porch bit down a bit and adapt it, but I'll mostly include that. I'll include that the next time I'm actually using it on a proper jaunt out. So get the brew on. Okay, so it's now 5 o'clock. Within the next half hour, 45 minutes, it's going to get pretty dark. So, got my brew. Just letting the old tea bag brew in the old water with dried milk, a couple of sugars, and then I'm looking at my I'm looking at my Scotch eggs and sausage roll, and eat that and hope I don't fall asleep and then miss what I've got to do tomorrow. Anyway, bon appetit. Just one extra thing to add, this wasn't to be a full review, you know, the total spec, 110% of the spec on the tent. It was just to sort of introduce it into how I'm going to start to use it, and then just give it a trial run. As I say, I repaired the zip, but I'll highlight what I did with that in another video in the near future. But as I say, this wasn't to be a full review, it was just to give it a trial run and share some of the experience with you. Okay, it's now 6:15. You can see it's pitch black. I'm going to go back to, I don't think you can really see it, but that's where I had that's where it was. There's my rucksack, ready to put on. Burgos Monroe. Stick that on and I've got to make my way over there, and then if you could follow this torch, and I can feel a little bit of sort of sleety rain kicking up. So I'm just going over this little mound here. You can hear the wind. I've actually now walked up into it because it's a bit higher here. So this is where I'm going to say my farewells, because I've got to go over that way. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you in another video soon. Cheers, take care.